craziness, this sickness in this country now is shot through the whole society. You know, people in law enforcement, or have also succumbed to right-wing extremism and white nationalism. Again, what this points up is how pervasive and vast a problem this is, and we will be dealing with it for a long time.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? And by everybody, I mean I don't think anyone's watching, and I should probably not be playing that at the same time. That might be a thing. Sorry, doing 8 things at once, trying to get all ready and raring to go. Hopefully, I see I got 4 eyeballs already. I'm pretty happy about that. I hope you guys enjoy the movie with me. We're going to be watching The Murder of Fred Hampton, which is a documentary about the police decision to murder Fred Hampton, who was the chairman of the Chicago, Illinois Black Panthers. And hey, Sugar, how you doing? It's good to see you. So I'm going to mostly let this play. I'm going to try and mostly text chat. If there is opportunity where we're having discussion, I will certainly pause and we can chat. But my goal is to not be the focus of attention, and which will be a pleasant change for all of us, I'm sure. And with that said, I think we can do one of these. Am I making noise? I just want to make sure I'm making noise with my face. I am. Okay, and you can actually hear my fridge grinding away in the background, which is exactly what I was hoping for. All right, so where am I here?
I found this man laying with his head roughly the center of the bed, his body coming back like this. His 2 hands were laying over the bed like this, and just off or right below his right hand was a .45 automatic. Just a short way away from his left hand was a shotgun. I didn't know if he was, how bad he was injured, so I grabbed him by the left wrist, and I pulled him out onto the door, which had been used as a barricade. I then backed off again.
Do me a favor and let me know if the audio's too quiet, too loud, too whatever.
That's where the chairman was done.
I'm the deputy chairman of the state of Illinois Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton. I have the pleasure now to introduce who I believe is one of the baddest motherfuckers in the world. A man that did something that a lot of us ought to be very glad that he did. He was a part of making the only party which exists in the United States today that represents the people. As a matter of fact, he was one half. Him and Huey P. Newton started out in 1966. Sometimes I think where some of us were at in 1966. I think what we would have said if we'd heard about some niggas going out in the street talking about carrying some guns, fighting all them policemen because we didn't know they was pigs out there in the streets. And I think I'm speaking for the whole party of the state of Illinois. I know I am. When I say that we love Huey P. Newton, we love Elridge Cleaver, we love Bobby Hutton, we love the Black Panther Party, and we love Chairman Bobby Seale. We love them because they were the first ones that took a stand against capitalism and racism and said that we'll fight it till the end. We said we join the line somewhere, motherfucker. If you try to pass us, we'll blow your brains out. They were the first ones that came through with the program that was initiated for the benefit of the people. All those things that I named and reasons why we love them are reasons that make it beneficial to us. But let me simply say when I'm introducing Brother Bobby that we love him because it's lovely to love. Chairman Bobby Seale.
conspiracy. Social phenomena. What is the social phenomena? Black people, Mexican American, any kind of people begins to learn that the social phenomena is that in fact U.S. racist, decadent, capitalist, imperialistic America is a police state. That a police state exists here, that these pigs are doing nothing but protecting the avaricious businessman and the demagogic politician, protecting the exploitative system that they got going. That in fact we are tired of it, we are sick of it, you've been brutalizing black people, you've been murdering and lynching them, black people are tired of it. Black people are the vanguard of this revolution all of a sudden, and it's phenomenally correct also, but we are concerned with that social phenomena. We are concerned with that exploitation. We are concerned with the oppression that black people and all other peoples in the world who are suffering the same common oppression that we are suffering today. The thing is that we have the ability to defend. But for what? But for what? For a new system, brothers. We need a new system. The people need a new system.
I sat yesterday afternoon next to Bobby Seale while he said that a federal marshal tried to ram a 4-inch piece of cloth gauze into his mouth. 3 marshals held his head. 1 marshal held his nose so that he couldn't breathe. And the 5th marshal attempted to press against his mouth with all his weight this gauze that ultimately resulted in Bobby bleeding profusely around the mouth and the lips as they tried to jam this piece of object into his mouth to silence him.
I'm so thirsty for revolution. I'm so crazy about the people. We're going to stand together. We're going to have a black army, a Mexican American army, an alliance and solidarity. We're going to have some progressive whites, all of us. And we're going to march on this pig power structure, and we're going to say, stick 'em up, motherfucker. We come for what's ours. Up against the wall. Power to the people. Thanks, brother.
When they got together, Bobby Seale, yes, they got together with guns, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we need some guns. Black people need some peace. White people need some peace. And we are going to have to fight. We're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to struggle relentlessly to bring about some peace, because the people that we're asking for peace, they're a bunch of megalomaniac warmongers, and they don't even understand what peace means. And we've got to fight them. We've got to struggle with them to make them understand what peace means. Bobby Seale is going through all types of physical and mental torture. But that's all right, because we said even before this happened, and we're going to say it after this, and after I'm locked up, and after everybody's locked up, that you can jail revolutionaries, but you can't jail a revolution. Right. You might run a liberator like Harris Cleave out the country, but you can't run liberation out the country. You might murder a freedom fighter like Bobby Hutton, but you can't murder freedom fighting. And if you do, you come up with answers that don't answer, explanations that don't explain. You come up with conclusions that don't conclude. And you come up with people that you thought should be acting like pigs, just acting like people and moving on pigs. And that's what we've got to do. So we're going to see about Bobby, regardless of what these people think we should do. Because school is not important and work is not important. Nothing's more important than stopping fascism, because fascism will stop us all. We're going to see about Bobby, because Bobby came and saw about us.
When I saw that he had 16 pieces of adhesive tape strapped across his mouth, when I saw the gauze around his head, when I saw that his ankles were strapped in leg irons to his chair and his hands handcuffed to his side, I knew that we would unite in this country to stop this outrageous criminal Nixon stampede over elementary human rights. We will free Bobby Seale and we will stop this trial.
A lot of people don't understand the Black Panthers Party's relationship with white mother country radicals. A lot of people don't even understand that words that Elrich uses a lot. But what we're saying is that there are white people in the mother country that are for the same types of things that we are for stimulating revolution in the mother country. And we said that we'll work with anybody. Everybody in the state of Illinois is going to have to be involved or even around the revolution, because we're going to have one. And we're going to have to do more than talk. We're going to have to do more than listen. We're going to even have to do more than learn. We're going to have to start practicing, and that's very hard. We're going to have to start getting out there with the people. And a lot of times we think we're better than the people. That's an insult, and that's criminal. It's going to take a lot of hard work.
Come on in, little brother. Come on in, little sisters. Y'all can sit down and get something to eat.
Sisters and brothers.
Y'all take off y'all's coat. We need some more cups out here. Sit down, man. Everybody gonna eat. Y'all can eat as much as y'all want to. Right on. Who want a plate? You want cereal? Who all want cereal? 1, 2, 3. Who wants cereal? Raise their hand up. Who? Anybody want some milk? All right. Whose milk is this over here? Well, drink it. That's good for your teeth, man. It makes your teeth strong. Who else didn't? Who left this milk over here?
That's what the Breakfast Children program is. A lot of people think it's charity, but what does it do? It takes the people from a stage to another stage to another stage, and any program that's revolutionary is an advanced program. Revolution is change, honey, and you just keep on changing. That's what we do. We take the people in there and take them through those changes, and before you know it, they are in fact not only knowing what socialism is, they don't even have to know what it is. They're endorsing, and they're participating, and they're observing, and they're supporting socialism.
Oh, you finna go to school now? All right. Right on. All power to the people.
That's the people's thing. Socialism is the people. You're afraid of yourself. If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself. You basically knowing my ideology, basically you knowing me knowing yours, you can support some of our programs. Is that what you're saying?
Why not?
And you believe in programs like the Breakfast with Children program and free health clinics? Right on, brothers?
We believe they're good things.
Uh-huh.
As a focal point to organize their mothers and fathers.
Uh-huh.
Peace.
Mm-hmm. There's no educational program here?
That's come out of the social action thing. You know, you set that up, brother. I mean, we can't put everything on one piece of paper.
What about this bank?
Credit union?
Mm-hmm.
Credit union. Credit union, my brother.
Is a bank.
Are you hip to credit unions? It is a bank.
Yeah, you go and borrow money?
Yeah, it's a bank. It's a bank. Owned by the people. Run for the people. And by the people.
What will money be given out to people for?
Well, the people would decide that. You want to buy, you know, whatever, you know, the people in the community decide. You need some living room furniture, maybe? You need a car, maybe?
See, the thing is with me, you dig, I need to know some more about it. I wish you had some more literature about the educational thing here. Because, you dig, as far as we're concerned in the struggle, the way we look at struggle is that this depends on the educational thing, you dig. Because
this depends on the education. Well, the whole thing.
No, but in the end, this does. You can form this with no education. You can form this and this.
No, not the way we're talking about forming it. You know, right. We're talking about forming it right. You know, it's not on the paper. We didn't write it on the paper.
You can form it right with no education.
No.
Let me give you an example. Jomo Kenyatta formed the excellent revolution with no education. And on the end thing, Jomo told the motherfucker, said, well, you know, you've been educated to hate the enemy, but I'm your brother. I'll help you lead the revolution. Now I'm going to oppress you.
Another example, Papa Doc in Haiti. Papa Doc in Haiti hated everything white. Man, you couldn't put this white paper in front of Papa Doc's face. But he moved all the white people out and he took over and be oppressor. He did, cause no education. And the people that had been educated, they just said that we don't hate the motherfucker white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow. So we got to know the educational program to find out what it's going to be in the finale. A lot of people, what Jomo Kenyatta is called never a revolutionary, but an ex-revolutionary. So is Papa Doc. They brought on a successful revolution. That thing in the Mao's was a bitch. Bantu freedom fighters, all that kind of action. What we saying is the end. But you don't judge Castro now. You can't do it. Nobody in this room could judge whether Castro's going to be a revolutionary or not. You know what I mean? We're talking about things, you know what I mean, with China, the People's Republic, and even at the stage they're in now, talking about even going on further into a communistic state. That's what we're talking about. Those are revolutionary. So we got to understand here the educational program that you have to be able to figure out whether it will go on the right lines where the people will end up in a situation where they can be able to really control themselves. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, the people take this local foundation and start stealing money because they won't be really educated to why it's the people's thing anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa now, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be an educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionalist movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more, and before you know it, they'll be capitalists, and before you know it, we'd have Negro imperialists.
Yeah, but you see, brother, the reason we don't do a lot of talking is because what you say is a foregone conclusion with us.
Yeah, well, see, brother, the reason I do a lot of talking is because there's no foregone conclusion with me.
Who are they programs geared towards? You got Black Easter, you got Black Christmas, you got Black Brown All Day, you got Black April Fools. Ain't geared toward nobody but black businessmen. And I say that anybody that comes into our community and sets up any type of situation that does not meet the needs of the masses, that I, Chairman President of the Black Panther Party, says that I catch that nigga by his collar neck and beat him to death with a Black Panther paper. We not doing it.
In that area where you have a high infant mortality rate, where you have lead poisoning, where you have inadequate medical service, we saw the basic need for free medical service, and we worked hard and worked over long periods of time in order to make that a reality. Now, up to this day in the black community, you have doctors there who are more concerned with private wealth rather than public health. The concept behind the medical center is that we would take the profit out of the medical profession. Our medical center is a direct result of the basic need in the black community for free medical service.
You had this done about 3 days ago, you said? This is not the burned hand. This is another one. Oh, okay.
Does it feel painful? No, it's not painful. Like it's infected and everything? No, it's not painful. It's good. Looks good, yeah.
We got doctors for every day this week. Next week we got... No, we need one for next Thursday.
Come to the clinic tomorrow for an appointment.
What are the chances of getting an ambulance now?
If we can buy an ambulance, that's about the best chance.
I mean, what about...
The idea is all right, but the idea is all right, but we just have to have money to get an ambulance.
Well, how much, can't you get a used ambulance?
Yes.
I tell you, I'm going to bring a couple of pharmacists from the hospital where I am. They want to come out and see it, and they're interested in working, you know.
We can have patients come through, see a doctor. After he gets through, get a test or what have you, then they comes in and see the people's advocate. That's a community person or person in the party who acts like a liaison between the center here itself and the community. He asks them what type of service they thought they got here in the center, you know, any other criticisms of the medical center itself. It's also to deal with problems outside medical problems, you know. People's Advocate has a resource file. In this file, we have teachers, sociologists, speech therapists, social workers. You know, this is all part of the resource file.
Okay, well, look at here. Look at here. You sit over here and thought about all that jail time he had behind his motherfucking back and say, I got the rap too. Our Deputy Minister of Defense, he got to say so. This is Bobby Rush, Deputy Minister of Defense for the state of Illinois. Bad motherfucker. You can tell the way that Chairman Bobby Seale feels the way about Huey P. Newton. I feel the same way about Bobby Rush. We didn't start the Black Panther Party, but we do know this, that we are some bad motherfuckers. The Black Panther Party don't remain in the state of Illinois. You know, sometimes we get to talking and I go to court, and they say, well, Fred, I come back and Rush said, Fred, we got to keep you on the streets. Then Rush will go to court, he'll come back and I say, Rush, we got to keep you on the streets. And after we just went back and forth, we decided that we like each other so well, goddammit, we both gonna stay on the motherfucking street. Ain't nobody going nowhere. They ain't taking us nowhere. We're gonna stay right here with the people. We're going to have to move, and we got to move fast, we got to move hard, and we're gonna have to move organized to be able to keep Bobby Rush on the streets. They got our field secretary, Nathaniel Jr. up against the wall. They got our Minister of Information, Chuck, up against the wall. Everybody, even got Chairman Fred up against the wall. Everybody against the wall. They even talking about giving folks 20 years. Talking about giving me 20 years. Dig it? For ice cream truck robbery. That's right. $71 worth of ice cream. 710 ice cream bars. I might be big, but I can't eat 710 ice cream bars. But even though they tried to give me all that bad publicity, they still came out in the end showing the true nature of a panther. Because they said I went into the truck, beat up this pig that was in our community exploiting people, took the ice cream bars from me, handed them out to the kids. Even though they made me a thief, they made me a Robin Hood type thief. Gave to the people. Here's a man who represents the people, Deputy Minister of Defense for the state of Illinois. Bad motherfucker. A brother of mine, a brother I've been working with a long time, and going to continue to work with. I'm going to eat with him, I'm going to sleep with him, I'm going to die with him, I'm going to live with him, I'm going to lead with him. Bobby Rush.
We're going to take the case to the people, and the people say that Fred is going to remain free, that Fred is innocent of anything against the people. He might be guilty of fucking over the power structure, but we can relate to that. All power to the people, and we're going to move on this power structure, and like Bobby said, we're going to say, get up against the wall, motherfucker, because it's a hold up, and we came to get what's ours. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to organize a movement so big to make sure that the leaders of the Black Panther Party in this state are not political prisoners and are not exiled and not killed, that movement is going to be so big that we might even have to go and get Huey P. Newton and let him carry a sign. We're going to have everybody involved. We're going to have everybody involved. And we're going to start a thing called Free Fred. Don't that sound nice? Hey, let's do that. Free Fred. Free Fred. Free Fred. Free Fred. Hey, I ain't even in jail yet.
People of Illinois versus Fred Hampton, the Honorable Judge of Life Society.
The defense will call this first witness.
I'd like for you again to describe to me what happened, if anything, after you and Officer Duff had pulled on to the school ground.
Well, I identified you as the person who grabbed me by the throat and held me down in the ice cream stand.
We were walking, looking through the crowd, and looking for the one who would beat him up.
And what, if anything, did he say when he saw me? Or what, if anything, did you say to him? Who said something first?
He said, "That's him. I'll never forget his face. That's the one."
Okay, now when that police car pulled up, what, if anything, happened?
Well, one policeman was on the outside of the car, and one was on the inside of the car. Officer Dunn pointed to Fred and said, "That's the man that did it, isn't it?"
Mm-hmm.
And the ice cream man said, "Yes, I think so."
So in other words, the officer pointed out he as being the person who had robbed this man, and in response to that, after that, the ice cream truck driver said, "I guess that's the man."
That's right.
What race were these police?
One was white and one was colored.
Right on. Officer Dunn, do you know the defendant, Fred Hampton?
Yes, I know Fred Hampton.
Do you know basically what Fred Hampton stands for? Politically.
No, I don't.
Officer Dunn, do you know the situation that poor people, black people and white poor people and red people and brown people are in this country today?
Well, not completely.
But you do know that part that you do know, that part includes the fact that these people are being oppressed by some white people that like to oppress people to make profit. Do you know that?
Objection. Sustained.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you know that a whole lot of blood-sucking pigs are
Please, yeah.
Do you know? Do you think you're free, Officer Dunn?
Yes, I think I'm free.
No more questions, Officer Dunn. God help you.
So we always say in the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world.
We have brought to trial here Fred Hampton. You are here to judge between two conflicting testimonies. Somebody is lying. Now, reason stands, reason is very clear here, that Private Jones, who had come from Sanford, North Carolina, would have no great desire to see Fred Hampton up in this trial. But Fred Hampton, a key figure in this community, has great reason for not wanting to be put in jail.
But the state's attorney and the state's attorney's office has reasons to see Fred Hampton in jail. We've got a new state's attorney, you see. And he said already what he thought about people that had different political beliefs than he has. His speeches sound somewhat like those of Hitler, and we know why he wants to see Fred Hampton put in jail. Why do I have a lot of arrests? Because of harassment. Why is that harassment? Because the people that harass me have set up a problem that made me disagree with them violently, and they set up this problem in order to exploit me and other people like me. And why they want to get rid of me? Because I'm saying something that might wake up some other exploited people and some other oppressed people, and if all these people ever get together, then these pigs that are exploiting us, we'll be able to run them into the lake. That's why they want to get rid of us. And it's just, it's sort of like a primary thing with me. I'm the first move that they'll make. I'm a part of the organization. It will be the first organization they'll move on because I happen to be a part of the organization, the Black Panther Party, that is the only organization, in fact, that has came out and stood up loud and clear and said that we don't care what anybody says, whether they have guns or not and badges or 18 uniforms. If whenever they step outside the bounds of legality into the bounds of illegality, then we'll blow their brains out if they're bothering the people. And what makes them mad about that? They're constantly bothering the people. Anybody that's out there for the protection of the people happens to be in direct conflict with them. What makes them mad about it? What makes them mad about it is that they have black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of poor people of all descents. They had them caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire best, we think you fight fire with water best. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reactions where all of us people are getting together and have an international proletarian revolution.
Right on.
Right on. And that's saying and you heard the testimony of pigs here. You got pigs of all colors, you know that. You got pigs that are white, you got pigs that are black, you even got pigs that are black and white. Propagating the same type of madness that this buffoon Hanrahan would be propagating if he were here himself. And why? Because they want to keep you to believing that I'm your enemy, and that everybody else that's black and that wears a lot of hair on his head and hair on his face, they want to keep you thinking that he's your enemy. Why? Because if ever you would disregard him and overlook him just for a minute and throw away that question of racism and started to dealing with a little logic, then there would be no one else you could attack other than Hanrahan, other than Daley, and other than Tricky Dicky Nixon. If you make the right decision, then the oppressed people of the world get complete satisfaction. I know you return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Today is May 1st. UEP Newton trial is up for appeal today. Our chairman, Fred Hampton, has not arrived yet. The pigs are trying to incarcerate him. These are some of the things we have to deal with. Somebody somewhere knows what happened to Fred this afternoon. So dead. You motherfucking pigs, get off your dead asses, FBI and Jehu Edgar. Right. You did? And find Fred before 7 o'clock. You find Fred, motherfucker. Right on. And if anybody's out there with him that's harming him or that kidnapped him and he happens to be a pig, well then we just don't discriminate by whose ass we gonna keep. So y'all go home now and grease them pieces. Right on. Set them sights and whatnot. Raise them windows. And if we can't find Fred, we're gonna give y'all a call. I know somebody's gonna construe this to mean that we advocate people to go out and ride. You know? And I told y'all before, the riding just ain't no hip thing. Right on. So we want everybody, when you leave here, we gotta leave here at 2 o'clock, I think. Hey, pig back there, do we have to leave here at 2?
Ask him again.
Hey, pig in the back.
Hey, pig!
Why don't you talk that cheap pig, that old, decrepit motherfucker, and ask him if we stay a little while longer. Let's put it on our head.
Marxism consists of thousands of troops, but they all boil down to one sentence, fighting to rebel. You dig it?
Well, Panther headquarters. A police raid is expected.
We're praying that Henry leads the charge. Praying he leads the charge.
I said that kid was checking out tonight. I said I do. We go out there, let's go out there and catch up with them motherfuckers. Yeah, but they'll be here. We don't know what time they'll be here, but we think they'll be here.
Your brothers know the type of blood you have. What's your name?
All I know is we got his head. Lucky got off. Okay. That's kind I got.
What type of blood do you have?
Be positive. Make sure you don't get no pig blood. Huh?
You know what type of blood you
Red
have?
now. Red, right on. Get his own community.
All those folks by the window, when if tear gas is thrown, here's your water and your mask. Keep this on you all the time.
You know, I know a lot of people, you know, that hear things like this and see things like this, couldn't understand the motive behind this. Some of us young people, and you know what I mean, I know a lot of people couldn't understand. See, me myself, you know, I was born in a so-called bourgeois community and had some of the better things you could say of life. And I found that even some of the better things of life for black people wasn't too cool. And I found that there was more people starving than there was people eating. And I found that more people didn't have clothes than they did have clothes. And I found that I just happened to be one of the few. And I made a commitment to myself that I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing until all those people are free. A lot of times I wanted for it to be possible for people to be free under capitalism. I wanted for socialism to be able to be brought about through means other than violent means. But those were times when I was trying to be subjective. I was looking at things and trying to make them the way I wanted to make them be. Because I didn't mind dying, but I just thought, well, everybody shouldn't have to die. What we're saying is that we're more than people that are for armed struggle. We're people that are for armed struggle, for the purpose of bringing on the People's Revolution, for the purpose of setting up initially a socialistic state, and for the purpose, secondarily, of advancing into what you could call utopia, or what we would call a communist state. We're saying that by observation and participation, by educating and by arming and by teaching the people revolutionary political power, we think that we as the vanguard can move those people that need to be moved that way. We can let those people ride our backs as oxen down the path of social revolution. And on and on and on, and finally, like we said, utopianism, or what you call communism. We're very confident that nobody's coming in the front door. Nobody. No gas. Nobody getting on the roof, Jeff. I want you to know that. Nobody getting on the roof. We believe in, what is it? Fire, cover, and fire. The Minister of Health and doctor is going to be covering me after while I'm loading up.
Now, see, in other given situations, like when you're trying to frighten enemy, see, because when you got height on him and you got firepower too, you won the battle.
What do you say? Yeah, but look here. What do you say about this? It's Beerland, right over here on Western, around the corner of Western. I think about 10, 12 stories.
It's higher than this.
Yeah.
Now, see, the only way we can get him is outshoot him or give him more firepower. See, we can keep him pinned down. He can't get up and shoot because there's too many bullets coming at him. So the only way that we can get him is outshoot him, put too much firepower on him where he can't.
Therefore, what you're saying is we got to eliminate, just throw that process out of our mind by firing from the bounces like that.
No. You just that and a whole lot of semi-automatic and automatic action on him over there, and he ain't got no time to sight nobody.
That's right.
Just keep it down.
Yeah. You know, this might sound reactionary on my part, man, but I just wish they would come tonight. Yeah, well, I want them to come.
I wish they would. The Minister of Defense.
I said the people. Why
don't you get a military viewpoint of how much chance they got coming up here?
No, it's impossible. That's right.
What has Everett said? It's the difference between 20 million niggas and 20 million niggas armed to the hilt.
This is impossible, man. I ain't bullshitting. I ain't know. And I didn't realize it, man. I know.
007.
Yeah, Jack, but
see, we put Rush out there at you, and he won't even be able to get up. 2 a.m.
Hey, we aren't asking for no water.
No, but the way I see it, but the way I see it, the pigs try to take this here office. I think the people would have their first people's victory. Wait a minute, who was that? Wait a minute, you...
We're drawing the line right here. Pigs will come no further. They are not going to make us retreat. We're going to have somewhere, no matter how far we run, no matter how long we have to run, that when we reach that point, we're going to be able to stop and say, in the voice that Hillary said is, that, motherfucker, you went too far, you did? Because I got my gun, motherfucker, and you got yours. And if you try to shoot me with your gun, motherfucker, if you try to take my gun, well, then I intend to blow your motherfucking brains out. That's what it's got to be about. That's what it's got to be about.
You stand and then we reach the verdict.
We have, Your Honor.
What is your verdict?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Fred Hampton, not guilty.
Illinois chapter, Black Panther Party, 2350 West Madison, Chicago, Illinois. Press release, May 27th, 1969. Pig power structure and their lackeys, in another attempt of pig repression, have sentenced Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton to 2 to 5 years in prison.
While Chairman Fred is in prison, the police attack Panther headquarters. There are 3 Panthers in the office, 5 policemen are shot. The 3 Panthers are beaten when they run out of ammunition.
The revolution has come.
This time we were attacked, man. They just, you can look at the windows, man.
Was there a fire in the,
They set a fire after they got through. The pigs set a fire, man. They did it, man.
After they got the brothers down, they went back up there and the fire started.
Nobody was up there except the police when the fire started.
Right.
Frank, you want to come
get a picture of that dude, man?
Yeah, check that door out, man. Magnum ride shotgun.
Enough from other bystanders confirmed the woman's story. Cook said similar tactics have been used to raid on Panther offices in other cities recently. The Panthers, Cook said, have strict standing orders not to fire, but return any fire directed at them. The injured man, identified as Larry White, right on, and attended the Cook County Hospital, said they had head wounds and undetermined gravity. It was believed the man may have been injured while scuffling with police seeking to take them into custody. Right on, Pete. He ran, Pete down from the roof. Right on, Pete. You taking him north. Right on, Pete. Pete got it. Pete got it, goddamn. I don't want to get it. Where they be somewhere?
We here? We ain't going nowhere. We say to Pig, Daly, Hammerhead, Hannaran, Pig Collins, and the rest, no more brothers will be taken from us without cause. Chairman Fred is gone from the streets where his heart and his people are, but not for long. For the people's love for Fred Hampton is lovelier than lovely.
Last night when the pigs vamped on the office, the community were all out there. They were in the uproar. They couldn't dig it because they know we are the People's Party. We are working in the interest of the people. You dig it? I'd like to talk about what we're doing because we're in the Black Panther Party. Yeah, we are. We're an armed propaganda unit, but we spend most of our time working with these programs and helping the people, serving the people. Huey P. Newton, our Minister of Defense, says that the Black Panther Party is an organization like oxen to be ridden by the people down the path of social revolution. You dig it? That's what it's all about. They vamped on our office because of these programs. And we putting these programs out for the people. Dig it? That's what they're for. The programs are the answer the basic needs and desires of the people, to let the people know that the Black Panther Party is concerned about the basic needs and desires of the people, to educate the people to the fundamentals of socialism and to heighten the contradictions. That's what it's all about. And they're going to attack us because we ain't talking about the Black Panther Party is going to overthrow this government. We saying we're going to heighten the contradictions so the people can see that injustices that go on and the people can decide whether the government needs changing or not.
People get ready. Revolution come. You don't need no ticket. Just the load is done. All you need is love me and love for the people. You don't need no ticket. Just the load is done. I believe. Pray, we must all be free.
Learned a lot when I was in prison. I had an educational process, a learning process. Sometimes I started thinking about some of the action that's going to be taken against me and other members of the party, and I said, I don't know why I'm not scared. But you know what I define as being? I define as being a people high. I define as being high off the people. You high? I'm high. You understand what I'm saying? I'm high off the people. Send me away to the penitentiary, and I went to the penitentiary way down in Menard, Illinois. I'm thinking, I said, well, I'm way down here in the country. I might can't hear no people. When I got to Menard, I myself, even being in the vanguard, had to get on my knees and learn from the people. I had to put my ear to the ground, and when I put my ear to the ground, I heard a beat. Here's that beat. Oh, we can hear the beat for the rest of my life. Feel all right about the beat? Give me a beat now, come on now. Ain't you high? If you high? Ain't you high? I'm high. I'm high. Oh, I'm high. Oh, I'm high. Oh, I'm high. Oh, I'm talking about? We're talking about a beat that can't be stopped by anybody. We're talking about we're going to make some changes in this system. We know they have our pictures, we know they're looking for us, we know they want us, but we're still saying that even though we could be in a sense, as far as
the valley, knowing that the people in the valley, knowing that we originally came from the valley, knowing that our flag is the same flag as the people in the valley, knowing that our enemies are just off the mountaintop, our friends are in the valley, we say even though it's nice to be on the mountaintop, we're going back to the valley. I be in the offices every day. I be in the streets propagandizing every day. I be working with everybody every day. I be teaching that solidarity is the thing. The end of a complete wipeout of imperialism is the thing. So if you're going to be thinking about me, that's what Bobby would be teaching. If you're going to be thinking about us, all we say is ain't no thing about going nowhere, getting killed. All we want to know is that you're doing what we'd be doing if we were here. And you got to do that. You can't do it unless you believe that you can do it. In the spirit of liberation, we understand that they want everybody in the party in jail. And we know that if we try to figure out and separate and divide who should go and who shouldn't go, we spend more time doing that than working for the people. So the quick solution, the speedy one, nobody goes. Nobody goes. We all stay right here. With the people. Because we love the people. Okay, you can put your hands down now. We say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people. X power to those that we left out. We say Panther power to the Vanguard Party. When you leave here, you saying the last word, before you go to bed tonight, say I am a revolutionary. Make that the last word. In case you don't wake up, then somebody might believe it and you might, end up in what they call it, revolutionary happy hunting grounds. Say that I am a revolutionary.
That's where the children was done.
We can mourn today but if we understood Fred, if we are dedicated that his life wasn't given in vain, then there won't be no more mournings tomorrow. Then all our sorrow will be turned into action. He said, but you have to remember one thing, and that's be strong. He wasn't afraid of anything.
The immediate, violent, criminal reaction of the occupants in shooting at announced police officers emphasizes the extreme viciousness of the Black Panther Party. So does their refusal to cease firing at the police officers when urged to do so several times.
This is 2337 West Monroe, described by police as a depot for Black Panther Party arms and ammunition. 14 state's attorney's policemen, led by Sergeant Daniel Groth, found out indeed it was a depot for weapons. After a 15-minute gun battle that cost Illinois Black Panther Party Chairman Fred Hampton his life, Sergeant Groth described the raid as 15 minutes of hell and a miracle. A miracle because not one policeman was killed, a miracle because not more policemen were shot. The firing stopped only when the occupants realized their arsenal was no match for the police arsenal, an arsenal that included a .45 caliber submachine gun and 2 shotguns.
What they didn't understand, and what Edward B. Hanrahan doesn't understand, and what Richard Jolivet, his chief assistant, didn't understand, and what those police officers who put those 2 bullets in the skull of his head as he lay asleep didn't understand, and what Richard Nixon and his assistant lackey, Mr. Mitchell, don't understand,
is that you can't kill Chairman Fred.
Right on!
What they didn't understand is that anyone who would try to kill him is and shall ever be an enemy of the people. And that whoever would do that can only be appropriately called not a person, but a pig. What they didn't understand when they did that is that pigs die, but Chairman Fred lives.
You are the ones who are gonna decide for yourselves what happened in that apartment on the morning of December 4th. You're gonna decide whether or not Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were the victims of premeditated murder.
At this time, there's no response from within. I take my revolver in my right hand, and I found possibly 4, 5, or 6 times. A voice from within, a male voice from within, replies, "Who's there?" I respond, "Police officers, I have a search warrant. Open the door."
As soon as Sergeant Daniel Groth and Officer James Davis, who were leading our men, announced their office, occupants of the apartment attacked them with shotgun fire.
I wait several seconds. There's no reply from within. The door is not open. I again take my revolver in my right hand. I wait a second or so. A male voice from within the apartment says, "Just a minute."
There was no response from the group? There was no verbal response?
The response from the group was the firing of a shotgun blast at our police officers.
There was no verbal response in addition to the
The response to our police officers was the firing at them by a person in the apartment.
Didn't they ask who was it several times?
When the police officers announced their office, they were fired upon.
Didn't they ask who is it at the door?
I looked at Duke. "Okay, Duke." Going over to about here, and I hit the door, and I go to the bed. Duke forces this door here open. Simultaneously with that, we enter. A shot rings out. Duke falls off in this direction. I enter in a semi-erect position. There's a woman lying on the bed with a shotgun, calmly pumping it, pointed in my direction, and fires. The fire illuminates her face. I get a very good look at her. I feel something go over my left shoulder. I then step back here. I look in, get up on my toes, point my revolver, look in again, cover my face, and fire several shots at the girl.
I heard a knock on the door. He said a policeman told us to open up. And Mark Clark, he said, "Just a minute." He got up. And next thing I knew, they had busted into the door. They came in shooting. They shot me. They shot Mark Clark.
This woman fires a shot. And the illumination apparently illuminates, or Dan's shooting illuminates a fellow sitting behind the door in a chair. He's pumping his shotgun. I turn in his direction. I fired 2 shots at him. As the shots apparently hit him, he stands up. I stand up with him. We struggle. He falls down over the chair on the floor with his head facing the corner of the door here in the wall. I fall across his body.
This here is the room where the first brother Mark Clark was murdered at.
Don't touch nothing, don't move nothing, cause we want to keep everything just the way it is. Don't touch no walls. Please don't.
Okay, this here is the door that they said the sister fired through with a shotgun. But if the sister had fired through this door with a shotgun, you could look at the wall out there and see some holes where the pellets had left out there. You can see no signs of a shotgun blast being fired through this door here.
Sir, you say your men were fired upon. Witnesses who have seen the apartment say there is no evidence of bullets from the direction where the Panthers supposedly were to be.
I said that after our officers announced their purpose and their station several times, they were fired upon from within the room.
We say this is nothing more than a fascist lie to justify the murder that took place in this crib here. This doorway here, which is absent of a door has been removed and is now in possession of our defense attorneys, and it's going to be used in our case to prove that what happened here was nothing more than murder.
After days of maneuvering, Black Panther attorney Francis Andrew finally brought a bullet-punctured door panel to the inquest. However, a controversy immediately arose as to whether Andrew's panel was the same one that was removed from the Black Panther apartment. This is Andrew's version.
Which side is the outside, sir?
The outside, you're looking from the inside now.
Looking from the inside now?
Yes. You look out this side.
That's the inside?
This is the outside.
It looks like the door is splintered on both sides.
You'll see that there is a hole up here, which none of the police in their testimony have mentioned. As a matter of fact, they have denied. This hole up here, it shows a bullet coming from the outside to the inside.
The hole at the bottom there.
The hole at the bottom is a hole that was made while the door was standing wide open.
Assistant State's Attorney Nicholas Motherway says Andrew could have gotten the door panel at any lumber yard. Motherway's point was backed up at least in part by a police crime lab technician who examined the door in the Panther apartment the same day as the raid. The technician said, first of all, that there was only one hole in the panel the day he examined it, and second of all, he said that he couldn't be sure the panels were one and the same.
This is December 4th, 1969 at 10:54 a.m. My name is Skip Andrew, and I'm at 2337 West Monroe Street, Chicago, Illinois. This door, which is a door entering into the living room, has 2 holes in it. This one I'm pointing to right here, 10 inches from the edge, and this one down here, 12 inches. The first one I referred to being 25 from the top, and the second one 36 from the top. Now, as you open this, there's also, of course, a knob door in this one. As you open this door, there's blood behind the door. The top hole shows that the bullet was incoming.
They fired through the door and hit the brother through the door. The brother fell here. Most of the blood is dried up, but you can see a little bit of it there and a little bit of it on the floor. The brother was shot 4 or 5 times, so after they came through the door, they shot him again to make sure he was dead.
Mr. Montgomery, Dr. Constantino testified today that Mark Clark could not have struggled after receiving that shot through the heart. Now, in your mind, does this contradict the testimony of Officer Davis, who described a struggle?
Yes, it seems to me that was a very startling thing. We also learned that the bullet, which was in fact recovered from Mr. Hampton's body, was a bullet fired out of a carbine by Officer Davis. So that indicates also that Officer Davis may well have walked into that back bedroom, contrary to his testimony, and fired a shot into the body of Fred Hampton at one point in time or other.
There were 6 of us assigned to the back door. I came up on the back porch. I placed myself to the right of the door. I put my head down enough so I could hear if there was any conversation in the building. I heard people talking in the front, and then I heard a loud shot, sounded like a shotgun. I backed up and kicked the door open. I started in, and before I could get past the threshold, there were 3 shots fired from the rear bedroom. They were directed directly at the back door as I was coming in. I backed out again.
Only by the grace of God was one of our, or 2 of our police officers prevented from being killed when they were fired upon as soon as they announced their office and knocking on the door.
On December 11th, 1969, the Chicago Tribune carried a story that it characterized as an exclusive version from the state's attorney's office.
Why was the disclosure made in the Chicago Tribune?
Because that newspaper, the Chicago Tribune, in my opinion, gave a very balanced, fair report of the events that occurred.
It has nothing to do with the class of people or the type of people that buy the Tribune as opposed to other papers in the city?
Does anybody have a sensible question?
Included in the exclusive was a photo carefully circled to show bullet holes supposed to be in the back door.
The account that we made public yesterday gives a detailed explanation of what happened in that apartment. I stand wholeheartedly behind it as absolutely accurate.
There is one inconsistency in, well, for example...
I do not intend to quibble about that account.
Do you intend to get at the truth?
The account that we gave of the events is the truth.
One of the 4 pictures you gave the Tribune had 2 bullet holes on the right side of what was supposed to be the rear door.
Henry has lied before, and he's going to lie again. That hole that he's blown up in the papers is a hole of a nail.
Tight close-up of a nail head.
Plus a little bit of the door hasp.
Plus the door hasp. Now, here you see the large nail heads being pointed out.
I have said that we released the pictures. We have not characterized or described the conditions that they portray, other than to say that that is an accurate portrayal of that particular object.
Do you know if any of the 4 pictures they received had portrayed bullet holes in any of the walls?
Another photo claimed to show the bullet-riddled door across from the bedroom. The officers testified that the Panthers fired into that door from inside their bedroom. In fact, the door in the photo was the bedroom door, and the holes in the door were made by police gunfire at the Panthers.
As you can see, bathroom door is intact. Not only the bathroom door, but the entire wall area is intact.
There was a picture of the inside of the door to the bathroom, yes.
That door, our reporters discovered, corresponded to one on the front living room adjoining the bedroom. There were holes in the door. When the door was open, those holes corresponded to holes that were in the wall adjoining between the bedroom and the living room. And when they stuck a stick through the holes, they all matched up.
I make no evaluation of the pictures other than to say they portray conditions as they existed in that apartment at the time those pictures were taken.
This is the door that's supposed to contain numerous marks from a stray shotgun blast and small arms fire, which again was fired by members of the vicious Black Panther Party who were standing in this bedroom here, shooting out into the hallway here.
I urge your inventory of each of these vicious weapons. This attack by the Black Panthers on the police, plus the weapons which were recovered at the depot where they were storing them, clearly demonstrates the true character of the Black Panther Party.
I have never denied that there was no weapons there. As a matter of fact, he would be a fool if he didn't have a weapon there, knowing the ferociousness of the pigs, how they just jump out of the cars and shoot you down, how they knock on your door and blow 19-year-old sister's head off with shotguns, how they kill 2 brothers in 1 week. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, everybody that's concerned should have something in their homes to protect themselves, because Hanrahan is a madman.
Mr. Hanrahan, can you tell me why your officers did not try to use tear gas? Isn't this the usual procedure to flush someone out of a building?
Our officers used the means necessary to effect the search and to prevent themselves from being killed upon after they were fired upon.
Isn't it true that your men usually use tear gas in situations such as this, and why didn't they use it this time?
No, that is not true.
It is not true?
They came with murder on their mind, you see. And even if they wanted to take somebody to jail, it would be a simple matter of just shooting some tear gas in here to draw everybody out. Right on.
This is where our chairman had his brains blown out as he lay in his bed, sleeping at 4:30 in the morning.
Someone came into the room, started shaking the chairman. Said, Chairman, wake up, the pigs are vamping. Still half asleep, I looked up, and I saw bullets coming from, it looked like the front of the apartment, from the kitchen area. They were, pigs were just shooting. And about this time, I jumped on top of the chairman. He looked up. Looked like all the pigs converged at the entranceway to the bedroom area, back bedroom area. The mattress is just going, you could feel the bullets going into it. I just knew we'd be dead, everybody in there. When he looked up, he just looked up, he didn't say a word, and he didn't move, except for moving his head up. He laid his head back down to the side like that. He never said a word, and he never got up out the bed. The person who was in the room, they kept hollering out, stop shooting, stop shooting. We have a pregnant woman or a pregnant sister in here. At that time, I was 8.5 to 9 months pregnant. My baby was to be delivered in 2 weeks. Pigs kept on shooting. So he kept on hollering out. Finally, they stopped. They pushed me and the other brother by the kitchen door and told us to face the wall. Heard a pig say, he's barely alive, he'll barely make it. I assumed they were talking about Chairman Fred. So then they started shooting the pigs, they started shooting again. I heard the sister scream. They stopped shooting. Pig said, he's good and dead now. The pigs were running around and laughing. They were really happy, you know, talking about Chairman Fred is dead. I never saw Chairman Fred again.
Inflammatory statements and false charges against our office have been made by spokesmen for the Black Panther Party and others, despite the fact that the speakers had no reliable knowledge about the occurrence.
Well, the best account that I can give is the room that I was in and the actions of things surrounding me personally, you know. First thing I remember when I woke up was a knock on the door, and it was only a matter of seconds. In fact, I'd say it was less than 5 seconds that I heard, you know, shots. Now, the thing that struck me was that I not only heard shots, but I can see plaster coming out of the walls in my room. So I knew the bullets were coming through the room that I was in.
I stepped over and I put the machine gun still on single fire, and I started from the left side of the wall, coming across, watching where the rounds were hitting, and I went over the girl's head, down on the other side of her, and continued fire across this wall.
One strange thing about this wall is this: the state's attorney's Gestapo rating pigs say that they fired numerous slugs going up and downward motion, attempting to avoid hitting the people in the apartment here. You notice that all these slugs are on a straight line. You also notice that all were fired at a low level, at about bed level.
Next thing I remember is someone, I think it was one of the pigs, told us to come out of the room, but there were still shots being fired. Now, I didn't know at this here time that people were coming through the back door, but I took it that shots were being fired in the back of the house and at the front of the house. And, you know, they were all coming through the walls. The walls were nothing but plasterboard. you know, a bullet come through the front of the house, it would go all the way through out the back. Somebody told us to get out, but I remember we were so afraid and bullets were still coming that we remained on the floor. I heard another pause, and then one of the pigs told us that if we don't come out, he was going to put something in there that would really get him out. The idea came in my mind that they were going to shoot tear gas or something in there.
We realize that there are still some people remaining in the front bedroom. We don't know whether they're injured or not. So I plead and I conjure, I beg them to come out. Please come out with your hands out, throw out your weapons.
But the next thing I heard was a barrage of shots, real fast. And, you know, we were hit this time.
I started with the gun, still on single fire, being very careful and watching where each round hit on the wall. I walked them around the girl sitting on the bed and brought it all the way across the wall again. As I was doing this, Officer Davis was stepping up, and he started firing across the wall from right to left. I put one shot into the door. I put a short burst with the machine gun on automatic fire into that closet. I fired 4 or 5 shotgun blasts into the bedroom. The second form, still coming up, caught a blast as the gun came further across the room.
They told me, you know, to get up and walk, and I told them I couldn't. And then I think they hit me or did something. They told me they would kill me if I stayed there. So I kept trying. I managed, you know, to get up, and I made a little hop, and I finally hopped out, you know.
I am taking the word of our policemen over what we understand is supposed to be a version provided by defense attorneys and by the occupants of the apartment.
I was hit 5 times. I was hit 2 times in the stomach, 1 time in the leg, and I was hit, grazed in each hand. Yeah. This is just a scar. You know, I had to have a section of my colon taken out because of infection, and I was shot over here.
I expect the general public to recognize the quality of these men's work, and the political consequences can take care of themselves.
You plan to resign, sir?
Of course I don't plan to resign.
He's changed the story every time from newspaper to newspaper, from one channel to another channel. He's had to change the story as we've brought up facts, truths about the evidence that he reportedly have given out, such as the nail heads, such as the bullet holes and whatnot in the walls. And it's only my conclusion is that Henry Hand, if he wanted to give an objective opinion about what happened here that morning, he would have to come to this apartment and find out, because he's dealing in a whole lot of subjective analysis, because the man haven't come to the apartment to find out what really did go down in the apartment. And we invite Henry Hand here to see for himself the evidence that we have shown to the masses of the people and to the public.
Mr. Henry, have you been at the scene yourself?
No, I have not been at the scene.
Based on available evidence, namely the physical condition of the home and its contents, the physical condition of the remains of Fred Hampton, the search warrant was merely a subterfuge, and the mission of the police was to murder and maim.
This blatant act of legitimatized murder strips all credibility from law enforcement. In the context of other acts against militant blacks in recent months, it suggests an official policy of systematic repression. The pious statements of State's Attorney Hanrahan concerning the brave response of the police against the vicious Panther attack, and his allusion to the grace of God concerning the sparing of the policemen, only makes the situation more macabre and terrifying.
As an individual, are you convinced that the official version is a lie, that it is a case of murder?
Personally, I am. Anyone who went through that apartment and examined the evidence that was remaining there could come to only one conclusion, and that is that Fred Hampton, 21 years old and a member of a militant, well-known militant group, was murdered in his bed, probably as he lay asleep. It seems very clear to us that he was assassinated, and the police officer who did that assassination then walked away from it then walked away from it and said to other people, Bobby Rush is next. Now, all of you who know Bobby Rush know that he is the Minister of Defense of the Black Panther Party and also one of our clients. And all of you also, I assume, know that Bobby Rush's apartment was broken into last night and also searched, but fortunately for him, he's still alive because he was not in the apartment.
Do you think if you had been in your apartment yesterday, you would have been shot by police?
Yes, I would have been murdered. I still think there's a great possibility of people trying to murder me. All the moves in the past, the initiative has been on the part of the police. They've murdered Fred Hampton. They're out to murder me. Just like they'll murder anybody that's black in this country.
Do you think there's going to be retaliation then by the Panthers?
There won't be any retaliation by the Panthers. I think that the time will come when the people themselves will take the power that belongs to them into their hands and move to guarantee life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We will not be forced underground until the people, we really feel satisfied that we've done our duty, performed our duty to educate the masses of the people to the injustices that the power structure inflicts upon poor people in this country. All the mass demonstrations that young people endorse that this is happening right now.
Bobby, what's the next move for you personally?
There's no personal anymore. I'm the people's man, so I do whatever the people decide. There's nothing personal about it whatsoever. And the Panthers will be there to serve the people's in the end.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Of course, numerous people have attempted to make formal and informal investigations with a report by the grand jury for the Federal District Court in the Northern District of Illinois. Then I quote, "This report contains the findings of the grand jury after hearing nearly 100 witnesses and considering over 130 exhibits, including police records, photographs, moving pictures, transcripts of testimony before other bodies, voluminous investigative and scientific reports, and reports of investigative interviews with over 100 potential witnesses who were not called." And of course, among the main witnesses before the federal grand jury were the 14 raiders in the apartment, the police officers who were assigned to the state's attorney's office. The report tells us, contrary to some of their testimony prior to the grand jury proceedings, the report tells us that at 4 a.m. on December 4, Sergeant Groth briefed the 13 assembled officers and told them the location of the raid and that Panther arms were involved.
Did you know that they were Black Panthers?
No, we didn't. We just knew that, or we were informed that there were guns and contraband in the building.
Did you have information that indicated that Fred Hampton might be there?
Not to my knowledge.
You just knew that there were guns and possibility of that these may have been Black Panthers?
All we knew is there were guns in there.
At this point, it appears that the people who are deceased were in the gun battle?
Oh, they were definitely in a gun battle.
I mean, they were firing at police?
Yes, sir. We saw the shots coming out of the two bedrooms.
Sergeant Groth, of course, from the beginning claimed, along with his fellow officers, that a shot had been fired by a young Panther woman in the far corner of the living room door as the officers entered the door. The report, however, explains the impossibility of this account given by the officers. Reading again now from the report from page 181, it says, Groth, Davis, Jones, and Gorman, those are all officers, all insist that a shot was fired by Brenda Harris at them as they came in the door. None of them could explain what had become of this shot, and it is not possible to draw a line from the southeast corner of the living room, where Harris was said by Davis and Groth to be on the bed holding the gun, out through the living room door, the entrance hall door, and the outside door. There are no holes in the west wall of the apartment.
Officer Carmody, when you knocked on the door, what happened?
Well, I didn't actually knock. I heard our officers at the front announce their office and shots fired. So I kicked in the back door, and as soon as the door opened, I could see shots being fired at us at the back door.
Do you have any idea how many shots were fired?
Quite a few. I have no idea.
Have any idea over how long a period the gun battle ensued?
It seemed like an hour to me.
Of course, the raiders would have us believe that they approached the apartment in a gentlemanly fashion, that they were attempting to save human life. They knocked on the door and they announced their purpose.
They fired no shots until they were fired at. They called for a ceasefire on at least 3 different occasions.
Thereafter, 3 times, Sergeant Groth ordered all his men to cease firing and told the occupants to come out with their hands up. Each time, one of the occupants replied, "Shoot it out." And they continued firing at the police officers.
By their own testimony, they admit that for 12 minutes, for 12 solid minutes in those early morning hours, there was gunfiring in that apartment. And yet the federal grand jury concludes that only one possible shot could have come from a Panther weapon. And that shot could have come through the door by a man who had just been shot in the heart. They would have us believe that even though there was only one Panther shot, they called for a ceasefire on 3 different occasions and didn't get it, and so they continued their firing. The great variance between the physical evidence and the testimony of the officers raises the question as to whether the officers are falsifying their accounts. Those officers fired 99 shots through the walls of an apartment where they knew people were sleeping. Murder is defined in Illinois as follows: a person who kills an individual without lawful justification commits murder if, in performing the acts which caused the death, he knows that such acts create a strong probability of death or great bodily harm to that individual or another. Federal grand jury comes to its conclusions. Unquestionably, the raid was not professionally planned or properly executed, and the result of the raid was 2 deaths, 4 injuries, and 7 improper criminal charges. In spite of those conclusions, the report then goes on to say, the physical evidence and the discrepancies in the officers' accounts are insufficient to establish probable cause to charge the officers with a willful violation of the occupants' civil rights.
I want you to know that I want you to say, if you ever think about me, and if you think about me niggas, and if you ain't gonna do no revolutionary act, forget about me. I don't want myself on your mind if you're not gonna work for the people. Like we always said, if you actually make a commitment at the age of 20, and you say, I don't want to make that commitment, only because of the simple reason that I'm too young to die, I want to live a little bit longer, what you did, you did already.
You have to understand that people have to pay the price for peace. If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. If you dare not to struggle, then goddamn it, you don't deserve to win. Let me say peace to you if you're willing to fight for it. Let me say it in the spirit of liberation. I've been gone for a little while. At least my body's been gone. You ain't got to repeat after me. At least my body's been gone for a little while. But I'm back now, and I believe that I'm back to stay. I believe that I'm going to do my job, and I believe that I was born not to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die from slipping on a piece of ice. I don't believe I'm going to die because I got a bad heart. I don't believe I'm going to die because of lung cancer. I believe that I'm going to be able to die what I was in the thing that I was born for. I believe that I'm going to be able to die high off the people. I believe that I will be able to die as a revolutionary in the international revolutionary proletarian struggle. And I hope that each one of you will be able to die in the international proletarian revolutionary struggle, either be able to live in it. And I think that struggle is going to come. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people?
You know, it's surreal to me to watch that.
In the chat on Twitch, Sugar and I were just talking about cops and the use of body cam footage to sort of prove. Like, this was amazing to me to watch the incredible depths to which they went to argue their innocence when they were not innocent. I just want to check one thing real quick here. I noticed that my mic is low, and I have a feeling it's because I have the wrong mic working, which is probably a crappy mic. No, it's a good mic. Does the volume sound okay? It makes me think back to... So I'm old. I admit it. And I think back to... Okay, good. I'm glad it's good. I think back to Rodney King. It wasn't body cam footage, obviously. It was bystander with a camcorder back in the days when camcorders were a thing. And what you had and what we all saw was absolute, irrefutable evidence of a crime taking place, of police killing a man. The arguments that came out about, oh, he was on drugs and he attacked the police, like, okay, cool story. You murdered a guy. You're the police. But what boggles my mind is it didn't matter. I mean, he was on, or they were on camera murdering him. And there was arguments. They were like, well, not every one of those baton strikes, if you watch the film, you can see that they don't all hit. Bullshit. That's just weak. It's not even a good argument. Here we have a case where we got an official police story and it's obvious. Like, if there was no further information given, we'd believe it. We'd be like, oh, wow, that's terrible. The police showed up to serve a warrant. These terrible, terrible terrorists, they start shooting at the cops. The cops had to defend themselves. That's great. Then you look at the evidence. You have the Black Panthers did such a good job of protecting that evidence and in investigating it themselves and arguing it and saying, like, no, this does not even fit your narrative. You're full of shit. Contrast that with like, recent body cam killings where cops have murdered somebody and they're like, the official story gets released. They know they're going to have to release the body cam footage, but they just come up with some bullshit story that's like, oh yeah, he was resisting arrest, so we had to restrain him and somehow magically he died. The number of times that we get handed actual evidence that what they've told us is bullshit, and we can see with our own eyes, and still nothing happens. Like, thank fuck we got a 3 counts of guilty verdict in jogging. Don't understand what you mean, Sugar. But yeah, at least we got 3 counts of guilty in the case of Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd. But I mean, like, that's a drop in a bucket. And we still, the real question is, will anything change? And the answer is nope. I wish it wasn't the case, but nope. The reality we have to embrace is the fact that the police are going to keep doing this because they do get away with it, because so often it's not caught on camera. So often, even when it's caught on camera, they can hush it up. What happened before the camera was rolling, that kind of shit. Absolutely, yeah. So I'm going to do the honky guy thing for a second. I used to live in a fairly middle-class neighborhood when I was growing up. And I moved out to a little basement suite down the street from my parents' house when I was 18 years old. And we used to go to the 7-Eleven, me and my buddy that was my roommate, We were both insomniacs. So 3 in the morning, we would go play video games. And it was the old stand-up arcade games that they had in 7-Eleven, and it was Pit Fighter. I specifically remember we used to go play Pit Fighter, which was a terrible, like, kick, punch, jump, press all 3, and you do the kick. And, like, nightly, cops would show up and wait till we came out for a smoke, and they'd be like, hey, boys, what are you doing? How long you been here? And we'd be, scared because we were raised little, white kids. Like, oh my God, the officer's angry at us. We better have answers. And so we would say, like, we've been playing video games. The guy inside will totally, he'll say, and they'd go like, 2 guys fit in your description. Just robbed the Rogers video, which apparently the Rogers video got robbed a fucking lot. It's also worth noting that at the time I was 6'2", 130 pounds, super skinny, with a buckskin jacket with like tassels. And so this hair was like all down here and parted in the middle, and I looked like an idiot. And Ian, my buddy, rest in peace, was same height as me, maybe a little bit taller, 300-pound headbanger. And we lived in Varsity Acres, where there was no 2 people who looked like us. So if there was 2 people that matched our description, it was us. But we were always terrified because the cops hold power. And I got to a place where that fear went away. And I remember the last time it happened before I moved out, cop was like, someone just robbed the Rogers video looking just like you. And I was like, arrest us. What? Arrest us. It's fucking 10 o'clock at night. Or no, not even 10. It was like 1 in the morning. In fucking Varsity Acres. No one else is awake. Let alone 2 people who look like us. If you have credible information that 2 people who look like us robbed a Rogers video, we must have done it. Arrest us. Then the cop was like, I'm going to let you off with a warning, boys. Like, for fucking robbery? Like, no, that's bullshit. You know what that was? And what I didn't even know it was at the time was white privilege. Because being a white guy in a white neighborhood and being able to mouth off to the cops like that, cool. If I'd been a black kid and done it, I'd have been dead. We used to keep walking and say, I'm a pedestrian. We were raised knowing our rights. Yeah. Sugar, were you raised in the city kind of thing, I'm assuming? Because, yeah, I was definitely, I had that sense of like, well, I haven't done anything wrong and the police cannot do anything bad to me. So I just figured out that they were bored. But, if I hadn't been a honky, could have gone very badly for me. I probably would have been raised to be a little more deferential. My parents certainly raised me to be like, oh, your police officer is your friend and you can always trust a police officer. But, no. Yeah, mostly Vic Park, Dover, Forest Lawn. Yeah. Those are neighborhoods where I can honestly say that even being a honky, I'd be scared of offending cops because there's so fucking many cops down there to deal with any nuisance crimes that come up, like being a homeless person nearby or being a prostitute or, any of the horrible things that, it's super over-policed. This is the problem with basing your policing on algorithms, right? There's certain applications of mathematics that are extremely important to police officers. One of them I can think of is the VICAP system, which looks at violent offender activities and uses common algorithms to determine the hot places, very likely to live or work within a 2-block radius. That shit's phenomenal. But when they look at crime and they go, we got to deploy cops, let's look at crime numbers. And the crime numbers are, there's a lot of crimes in Forest Lawn, Vic Park, and Dover. Well, what are those crimes? I bet you they're not wage theft. I bet you they're not white collar crimes. It's there's homeless people. The crime of actually not having a home. And it's people who are out, drunk or on drugs or whatever, and it's prostitution, and it's low-level bullshit crime that shouldn't be fucking a problem. But when you look at a heat map and you go, oh, look at all the heat in this area, we better send our police officers down there. And then when the police officers go down there, guess what? 300 cops walking around find a fucking bunch of extra crimes because they just happen to be in the area. And it feeds that cycle and it makes them go, this is a bad area. We need to do more in this area. And it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. The cops used to harass my kids. They don't anymore. I'm a vicious mother. Oh, I can imagine how well that would have gone for them, sugar. Yeah. I had, with my kids, I kind of went the other way. It was the schools that were really quick to throw them away, and I fought a lot of fights, but schools don't fucking listen, right? So my kids are dealing with the fallout of that. But yeah, it just, none of this makes any sense to me. I like I said, I was raised to believe that, the officers are our friends and they're there to protect and serve. I don't even think that's like a motto anymore. It certainly isn't the motto of Calgary's police. I wrote a thing years ago for Newtopia magazine, which, interestingly enough, next week when we do this documentary viewing, which will be on Tuesday again, one of the chief editors of Newtopia magazine was my buddy Charles Shaw, who is the documentarian whose movie we're going to be watching. And I'm hoping to convince Charles to join, but we'll see what happens because, he's a little curmudgeonly American. But he's made a movie called At Home in the Dark. He's made several movies, and I highly recommend them all. Most notably, his most recent one, Exile Nation, The Plastic People, is about the deported Americans who are of Mexican descent who got deported as like they were dreamers or what have you. The Plastic People are the people at the Tijuana border. Basically, they get dropped off by the police who confiscate their ID and kick them across the border to the Tijuana police who are like, let's see your ID. You don't have any. Oh, well, you're guilty of a crime. And so they go straight to jail. They get released and they wind up homeless, living in Tijuana. A lot of them don't speak the language. A lot of them, don't have family, don't have connections, don't have anything. They're just fucked. So it's an amazing movie, and it's narrated by, it's gonna bug me now, I can't think of the name. Very famous, I'm gonna quickly check. What is his name? Okay, so Exile Nation, Plastic People. Edward James Olmos. Edward James Olmos is the guy. Yeah, it's a phenomenal film. Anyways, this is an earlier work of his that we're going to be doing, but I digress. He used to run a magazine with my friend Kim, both of whom live in the U.S. And the magazine was Newtopia, and it was about politics and culture and stuff. And when the G8 summit happened here, I wrote an article. Oh, sorry, my kids volunteer and are really well known too, so other people pick up from them if I'm not there. Well, that's awesome. That's fucking. Your kids seem awesome. From everything I know about them. Anyways, the G8 summit happened in Calgary, and I was very much expecting to write a piece that was like, those fucking cops. And I was blown away because they didn't do what I expected them to do. And they didn't start a problem, which is what happens in most of these situations. What ended up happening was, like, I remember going down, I was working right downtown, so I was kind of in the heart of all this shit the whole time. But there was a naked protest that was going to be done on Stephen Avenue, and all the fucking fucking liberal douchebags I worked with were like, let's go down and see naked girls. And I was like, But I went with them to, sort of take it all in. And because we had all over downtown were like the fucking SWAT stormtrooper cops. But they were all in buildings. Like my building had like 30 SWAT stormtrooper dudes in it. And I got out and I expected to see that. And there's this huge protest. And it was a very bad protest. Like people were walking around complaining about the Gap, complaining about George Bush, complaining about trees. Like there was no, it was just this sort of weird, bodiless, like no one really knew what they were protesting, but we were new at it at the time. And the cops that were there were those bicycle cops, the guys with the bad socks and the short shorts, and they're like, grab their bike and they're like, okay, we need to make a little space here, thank you, okay, great, have a good day. And it was like, getting told what to do by Ned Flanders. And it occurred to me, and I was like, that's fucking smart. If they had brought out those stormtroopers, that would have just egged on the problem and created a riot. They had the easily identifiable cops, the cops that are human beings in bad socks, and you can be like, hey man, yeah, I'll move back, I get you. Those other cops were there in case something went wrong, but they were not the face of the police that day. And I remember what I wrote was that I was surprised that we had done such a smart thing to fix that, or to not to fix that, to circumvent that problem. And I was like, maybe we're learning. No, we're not. Now, the fucking cops that we see out at protests they're certainly not bicycle cops. They're the prick cops, and they love to pick fights. They love to push their power around and just be like, like we were talking earlier in the chat about Taylor and how cops love to needle her when she's protesting. Roid monkeys, absolutely. It's the giant jacked up, like, I'm a police officer, it took me 6 weeks, but I got there. And like angry people of all sizes. I was watching a live stream that she did recently, and there was like, it was like a perfect, if diversity only meant white people, it was the most diverse crop of white people you could imagine. All these different cops, and almost without a fail, treating everyone that was there to say, like, maybe fascism's bad, like shit. It was fucking stunning. Roid monkeys, yeah. What's funny about roid monkeys is they're not strong. I was working out at the gym years and years ago. I had a buddy of mine that I used to go to the gym with, and I was doing that. I think they're called flies. I never know. My shoulder's really fucked up right now. I've been mangling it the whole time. But I was doing like where you're lying on your back and you're doing like that and slowly up. And we're next to these two roid boys, and one of them, you can see him kind of look down, and I knew what he was doing. And as I'm going down like this, he specifically walked into the path of my arm. So I'm holding, weights, and I hit his arm, and I had to like catch myself. And I dropped the weights and I got up. And I was a lot smaller. I'm still stronger, but like not at my weakest, but I was not as big as this guy. I got up and I was like, the fuck, motherfucker? And he's like, it was an accident, bro. I was like, was it? Because I feel like it fucking wasn't. And he's like, you're crowding me. And I was like, okay, you just fucking walked into me. You could have hurt me right there. You need to back the fuck off. And him and his friend were like, okay, we're going to leave now. But it's like, not that we're leaving because we were just like done our reps. And they laughed. And my buddy that I was with, who was bigger than I was like, oh my God, dude, like you almost got us both killed. And I was like, are you kidding me? Fucking punch that guy in the tit and he's down. Fucking steroid guys. It takes no effort to take out a steroid guy. They feel strong because they're swollen, but they're not swollen in a good way. It's not strength. There is strength that comes with the rage that comes from steroids, but a lot of them are doing other pills that balance out that rage, so they don't even get the fucking adrenaline rush. Can't stand those kind of people. Yeah, fuck. They're just garbage. And I bounced for years. The whole time I bounced, I never threw a single punch. I never needed to throw a single punch because I could have a conversation with people. And it wasn't always a nice conversation. Sometimes it was a downright like, we would walk up to people like, are you fucking kidding me? Is this seriously how you're going to behave? Get the fuck out of here. Go. You know you're in the wrong. Get the fuck out. No, you want to act like a child? Leave. We don't allow children in the bar. And people would be like, fuck you, guy. Good. Right? No one got hurt. There were certainly times where I was tempted. One of the first shifts I ever worked was at the second distillery, and I very damn near hit, and it was a woman. And I'm not okay with the idea of hitting a woman, but she cut me through my jeans with her stiletto heels because I was trying to get her out of the bar, and she crumpled on the floor in the there was an L at the stairs, and she crumples in the corner, and she's like, I'm not leaving. I was like, honey, you gotta go. Honey, come on. You know you're in the wrong here. I didn't do anything wrong. You elbowed the manager of the bar in the mouth. You gotta go. And she's like, fuck you. And I was like, hey, honey, I'm gonna have to pick you up. And she's like, you don't pick me up, you don't touch me. And I went to grab her, and she's like, with her heels, and ripped my skin through my jeans. And I was like, I didn't even blink. I just had that moment where my hand is in her face and my other arm's up here, and I was like, wait. This is bad. And I tagged out, and other bouncers came, and it wound up being she tried to fight everybody. And I stayed away because I knew I was way too hot. And I guess when the cops showed up, they get out of their car, and they looked up, and they're like, Janice, get in the car. And she's like, fuck you, Officer Dave. Can't stand those kind of cops. Need to get tested for roids and shouldn't be allowed. It's mood-altering substances. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even cops, if you're not on steroids, but you're constantly working out and you're that jacked fucking dude, that affects your testosterone probably better than steroids do. It's absolutely fucked, and those people, there should be regular tests for cops to see how they react to situations. Right? Not just can you shoot the bad guy really quickly and tell, oh, that one's a little girl, don't shoot that. But also, how do you react to somebody pushing you? Because, a lot of cops, big, little, doesn't matter. A lot of cops can't fucking deal. They are ready to go the minute that something bad happens, right? This movie we watched tonight wasn't even that. It was literally people were sleeping. Cops showed up and just knock, 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 please come out, open fire, and just murdered people. And, to their defense, they kept, as I pointed out in the chat, they were like, hey guys, please, you got to come out of there. That's just a way to get people to walk into your hail of bullets, you fucking motherfuckers. And that's not okay. And I'm glad that the Panthers did what they did to gather all that evidence and prove, incontrovertibly, that we were being lied to. But it shouldn't have to be that way. And like I said, Rodney King, all the body cam footage we get now, it still doesn't matter. It still doesn't result in convictions when cops are straight up dead on balls guilty. They don't get in trouble. De-escalation skills, all cops are bad, defund to fund, 100%. Defund to fund is the greatest idea ever because when you are a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. When you're a cop, every problem looks like a criminal. Defund to fund is take some of that huge, giant fucking super budget that they've got, apply it to social services, apply it to medical or mental health services, apply it to the various areas that can get involved and can circumvent before these situations become unmanageable and you need a cop. So that if there's a problem, you call the appropriate person. Now, how do you know who the appropriate person is? call fucking 911, just like you already do. And if 911 is like, wow, that's dangerous, we need to send a cop, fine. But if 911's like, oh, you need a social worker, why can't 911 deliver a fucking social worker? You know, the liquor store down the street can deliver me rum at 2 a.m. 911 can deliver a fucking social worker. And it creates a sense of community. Absolutely. I actually had a friend years ago. Unfortunately, we lost touch, but she was a psych nurse, and she worked in a lot of like both mental hospitals and also the prison. And she developed a rapport with a bunch of police officers. She's an old school punk rock OG. Trash Bag Trish, if anyone knows. And Trash Bag Trish ended up getting a gig with the police where she would go with them at like, I think it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. And they'd go down to the areas where there were, you know, regularly people who were passed out, people who were, you know, on drugs and stuff. And she ministered to them, you know, gave them the medical checkups and made sure that they were okay. And the police were there, and everyone that was involved understood that the police stayed back. You treated Trish with respect, because Trish was not around one to fuck around with. But more importantly, if something happened, the police would come in. But Trish had free reign to meeting people where they were and minister to their health. And I don't know what we're doing now, but apparently it's much better to, you know, be fucking roid boy stormtroopers. All right, my shoulder is fucking killing me, so I think I'm gonna call it a night. I don't know what I did to it. Like last week, I did something. I don't know if I slept on it wrong or I shot it with an Uzi or something, but give Bear Clan a nurse and a social worker. Oh fuck. If Bear Clan had a nurse and a social worker, anyone who's watching this, if you know nurses and social workers, get in touch with me. I will get you in touch with the Bear Clan. If they had a nurse and a social worker, the things those people can do out of just the goodness of their heart, and they've got a track record of just doing the right thing. So fuck a cop, support a Bear Clan. You can always email money transfer them in case anyone's watching. And it's bearclanyyc@gmail.com. A group that I 100% support and endorse. I've done fundraisers before. I will do fundraisers again. My last one I felt like was a little bit weak, and I felt kind of embarrassed. I brought in $300 altogether, but I had big dreams that it was going to be like, you know, 302, and then it wasn't, and I was like, I suck. I'm really good at self-recrimination and beating myself up. Anyways, I don't know what I did to my shoulder, but it's been super awesome. And I can't, like, sleep with it properly. I've been sleeping, like, in a chicken wing so that it stretches out a little bit, because if I just leave it, it just knots up and is hell. So, and it's really bugging me right now. So I'm going to call it a night. Thank you guys for watching with me. Remember, next week we're going to watch At Home in the... Shit. What is it? At Home in the Dark. My buddy Charles's movie. If I can, I'll get him on to talk. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's done interviews with... or he did a documentary about Random Rab, the EDM musician, who's a friend of his. They live in California. He did the Exile Nation, the Plastic People, and there's another Exile Nation movie, and I can't think of for the life of me what it is. Anyways, Charles is awesome. Next week we'll be talking about trauma and PTSD in his movie At Home in the Dark. So hopefully you come hang out. Matthew, I see you. Thank you for popping in. I don't know if you were here for the whole thing or just the tail end, but either way, I see you. I appreciate you. And now I'm going to go and put something on my shoulder like ice or fire or maybe a cleaver. Take care, and I hope this was fun for everybody. It was always fun for me to chat with you, and also the video was fucking amazing. So much love.